Hello guys, once again it's Matt and today we have another video. Thank our members over Landing 11B, Igor, Yuyush, Josenfield, Jeff, Chalares, Astropub, and Silami, and thank you all the Fishband members, and let's get into it. So subscribe, and yeah. So we have another tier list video. A lot of them are very much liked by you guys, so I decided to make another one. And today we are going to check it out, the 10.0 to 10.7 aircraft. So yeah, I have to reorganize this a little bit and then we get into it. So yeah, I reorganized a little bit. So yeah, let's start. So let's start with the USA as always, coming from the left to the right on the tech tree. And we're going to talk about the levels are the same as the other videos, so check those videos out if you want to as well. Power creepers, kind of OP, not great, not terrible, kind of terrible, trash bin. Obviously, we have many BRs in here. So for example, the A10 is 10.0, the A70 is 10.7. So I'm not going to consider just the performance of the aircraft. I'm going to consider the performance, the missiles, how he plays out, if it's easy or not, and if he has a good BR that can actually win a lot of battles and do a lot of things on your own. So yeah. So the first aircraft, the A10A late. So the Tech 3 variant of the A10, I would put it on not great, not terrible. It is a 10.0 aircraft. It is problematic in certain areas. I think it's just food for most aircraft. But with its AIM-9Ls and having a lot of countermeasures, if the guy actually plays it correctly, it can be very deadly. But you have to know what you're doing, and it is just a very it's a dangerous aircraft, but not so much. It is very good in air to ground. It would be, if you were going to consider air to ground, this is probably the power creeper. But yeah, I think it's just not terrible. It's not something amazing, but it's not something bad as well. Uh, so yeah, but and then we have the 7D and the 7E. So the Corsairs, they are problematic. I would put the A7D in the kinda terrible and the A7E in the trash bin, just because they're not actually a trash. They're pretty alright aircraft, but the BR of them are pretty complicated. The only way that you can actually fly these aircraft, I mean, the A7D, it's a little bit better. It can face a lot of MiGs and stuff like that, and I mean, it's a heavy aircraft with not too much power, so it is complicated, but it is usable, okay? It is very much usable, and even though it has its problems, it can be a very good ground attacker. It has the M9Js and a lot of guns and stuff like that. So yeah, it has the Mavericks. So it is a very good attacker, but in RB's kind of, I don't know. I think it should be in the same BR as the A10A. And the A7E especially needs to be 10.0, 10.3 max, because 10.7 you just get a lot of up tiers, and it is just not a very good aircraft. If you don't use the GAU 13 gun pod, you're basically dead. And even with that, you gotta hope that people go in head-ons with you, because it is really. I mean, you can get aces because there's so many bullets coming out of these guns, but still, it's not very effective and not very easy to fly in most ways. Then we have the F-104A. So the F-104A is a very good aircraft. In 10.0, it can be very effective, but it depends on the BR that it faces. If it faces the I'm going to put it in not great, not terrible, because if it faces 10.3s and stuff like that, it is slower than that. I mean, the only thing that it's good in this aircraft is its actual speed, and I'm going to put the F-104C in here with the same problem. They both are very good in speed, but it tends to be a very problematic thing because a lot of aircraft are faster than this. For example, the MiG-21MF, the MiG-21S, for example, they are faster than you, and in a high altitude situation. So the only advantage that you have, you kind of lose for certain aircrafts. So it becomes kind of a problematic thing. You have to get a lot of people by surprise, and it is a hard aircraft to learn. It is fun, to be honest, for me because it is an aircraft that is very different from anything else that we see. The starfighters in general are very different, but they have their problems, okay? They really do have their problems. I think they don't need a different BR, but it is a challenging aircraft to fly. It's not amazing, it's not trash, it is alright. If you use it correctly, it can be very effective. Then we have the two F5s. They're basically the same right now. They have basically the same missiles and they have flares and the same engine and stuff. But yeah, the F5A and the F5C. So I think they are pretty. I mean, I would put both of them on the power creepers, especially the C being a, I think it's a premium, right? So you will see a lot of them. And obviously the A is an event vehicle, so you see less of them, but still it's basically the same aircraft. So yeah, but the F5C, I mean, and both of F5s, they have a very weird flight model, a very even weirder damage model. They turn like a zero. They maintain the energy like a zero, and they're just, I mean, man, they're really, really like they're OP. Okay, they're really good. They are the definition of a pay to win because they're very, very good aircraft, very easy to use at this BR. It is 10.3, but it's still, I mean, you normally don't face up tiers, and even if you face them, you are still kind of okay. You can deal with targets at that BR, you know, you can kill MiGs and stuff like that. It is very, very, it's hard even for a MiG-23 MLD to win against this on a dogfight. It's not impossible. If you are used to the MiG-23, you can actually win pretty easily, but it is an aircraft that it's a pain to kill, you know, sometimes. And it is so easy to use. You just get in and you go for it, and it's just you get a lot of points. And yeah, it's probably one of the best premiums out there that you can get, together with the A5, the SPS, and stuff like that. So it is pretty amazing, pretty amazing. One of the best aircraft in the game for its BR. Then we go for the F105. I think the F105, it's alright. I mean, I would put it probably, let me think a little bit. I mean, it is a very, I mean, the BR is kind of high, so it's a 10.0 aircraft. I would put it in not great, not terrible, just because of that, not in kind of OP. But it is a very effective aircraft. It is very fast, but it has its problems because it doesn't have flares. Obviously, 10.0 can be a problematic thing together with the F104s here. But it is very fast, it is usable, and it is a very, very good bomber. If you're going to just talk about the bomber situation, I would put it in here. But as a fighter, it's alright, you can use it very well. But it has its problems as well. It's big, it's heavy, and it doesn't like to turn very well. So yeah, it's kind of not that good. But it is pretty good as well. So middle tier. F4C, I'm going to put it on kind of OP. I know a lot of people say that his aircraft is trash, but I think it's not. If you don't use the gun pod underneath the aircraft, these missiles are pretty alright to get a lot of aces. I get a lot of aces with that because the aircraft is a lot faster without the gun pod. And the Sparrows, even though they are pretty bad in general, the Sparrows D, you know, at this BR 10.0, they are very, very good. One of the most fun F4s that you can fly. I think, in my opinion, I have more fun in this F4 than any other one, just because it's a low BR. You know, you have a very weird radar and with a lot of ground clutter and very bad missiles and stuff. But a lot of people climb a lot at the start of the battle in this BR, and with the Sparrows you can get a lot of kills. You get 1 to 2 kills each battle if played correctly with this aircraft. So it is pretty amazing, pretty amazing. Then we have the F8U. So I would put the F8U in kind LP as well. So yeah, the F8U2 and the F8E. So the Crusaders. So they're pretty alright. I think they should be in the same tier over here, even though the F8U can be a bit problematic because it doesn't have an RWR or flares, if I'm not mistaken. But the FAU has it, and the F8E has the A9C. So they're pretty weird, to be honest. The flight model is very, very weird. but they're very, very effective aircraft. I mean, the M9D got a very, very bad nerf a while back, but still, it is one of the best dogfighters out there in this BR. It maintains very good the speed that you have, even though it doesn't actually likes to pass Mach 1, so it's not fast, but it is a very good dogfighter, and I mean the guns they jam a lot, but once you get the new cannons upgrade, it turns to be very alright. So yeah, the F8U it's a bit better than the F8E in survivability, and the F8E has the A9C, which helps a lot in uh, high altitude situations. Very good missile if the especially if the target doesn't have chaffs, obviously, but yeah, pretty alright aircraft, especially at dogfights, pretty good. So this is it for the US. Let's get for Germany. Then we have the F104G. I will put it on kind of terrible because it is 10.7. They up tier this aircraft to space, and this gets a lot of top tier matches, a lot of top tier matches, and you only have like the 4M9s. You have flares and chaff, which makes it kind of terrible. The other ones that I'm going to talk about, they will be always on the trash bin because of that. But yeah, they are kind of terrible because, as I said before with the F104A and C, it is a very problematic aircraft at the BR. I don't know what they were thinking about that. I mean, they probably thought that it would. It's kind of OP in 10.3, but still, I mean, it's just complicated, man. The missiles are alright. The gun is alright. It is fast, but not as fast as anything else that you face in the BR. And being a 10.7, most matches will be a top tier match. The flares and chaff helps, but you still are not out of the woods. And yeah, you don't turn, you don't dogfight, you just try to run, and you're not particularly good at that. So out of the F104s, I think it's the best one together with the Italian one just because of the chaff, but still it's way too problematic. It's not good. It's really hard to fly at that BR. Then we go for the F4F early. It is 10.3. So yeah, I would put it in not great, not terrible. No, not probably kind of terrible, just because it doesn't have flares or chaff, which makes it so that it can die a lot, like a lot. So yeah, you have to be careful with that. I would prefer it to be 10.0 together with the F4C without the M9J. I think it should just receive the M9B and the FGW, which is the M9F, and be 10.0. It would be way better with that. It makes more sense because it doesn't have already flare. So yeah, lower its BR. And yeah, basically there's that. It is a very interesting aircraft with a very fun camo, but at current price, I mean, it's 130 gaijins or something like that. I don't know if it's that much. I think it's like 90. I don't remember exactly, but still, it is a very expensive aircraft for not that much performance, to be honest. It is just an F4F that doesn't have flares, so yeah, you have a lower BR, but a lot of people have R60s in this BR, Magics and other stuff like that, M9J. So if you don't have flares and you are an F4 that produces a lot of heat and it doesn't turn well, yeah, you're going to end up dying a lot. So yeah, kind of terrible. It is not that bad, but it is alright. Then we go for the East Germans. The MiG-21 MF, I would put it on, let me think. I think probably, I don't know. It's probably kind of OP, not really that OP. Just because you have to have the flares, you have to have a very heavy under the fuselage pod. But it is an interesting aircraft. It still has a lot less engine than the SMT, but it turns very well. It's light. It has R60s, 10.3, so very okay aircraft to fly. It has its problems with energy because of the weaker engine and the flare pod that it has to get. So yeah, but still, it's an amazing aircraft, very standardized MiG-21. Doesn't have anything too amazing, but it's not bad. It's really, really good. And then the SPSK, which also it's a premium, which you can kind of see a pattern here. Event vehicle premium, yeah, complicated, right? But still, I would say that the SPSK is a power creeper because it's 10.0, has R60s. It is very, very light, even though it has the R11 engine instead of the R13 of the MF. A way lower BR, it gets a lot of down tiers, sometimes like 50-50 to be honest. And with those R60s, yeah, R60s and the cannon, you can get a lot of aces in this. 6 kills, 7 kills. It is a very, very capable aircraft, one of the best premiums in the game. My favorite premium in the game because it is the MiG-21 PFM that I love. I mean, I just love it, the aircraft, and together with the R60s and a higher BR, it's really, really good. The performance of the aircraft, of course, is worse than a lot of them, but with the R60s and the lightness of the aircraft, it helps a lot for getting a lot of kills. And this is it for part 1 of the video, guys. We have a lot of content still to be shown, so I'm going to leave it for a part 2. If not, the video will have more than 30 minutes. So yeah, I see you guys on the next one, and I hope you enjoyed.